The project tonight is basically this ornament here, and it's got a natural edge piece, and it's got a finial on top and a finial on the base. All right, so this ornament here, and it's a natural edge piece. I don't plan to do a spiral ribbon finial tonight, just a normal finial, but I will do the finial on top. Um, and I'm going to make it out of this log here. Um, the hardware involved is basically this little hook thingy is something I got off of Amazon. And these little eye hooks, they've got little screws on the end. I got those probably from a craft store nearby. Um, but that's the hardware I'm using. To do the drilling, I have a little pin vise with a little drill bit in the end that's the right size for the little eye hooks, and I will do that on the lathe. Any questions about that? Just a little pin vise that holds a little, it comes with the drill bits. I probably got that. Um, all right. So we're going to make this. This is my practice piece from earlier, and it's got quarter-inch hole drilled in it. And you can make any sort of different size finial that goes on the top of any kind of shape. Um, Lots of options. So I like the contrast, so I tend to dye them, and they've got the little hole in the top for the eye. I don't know if y'all can see that or not, but anyway, uh, and then in the bottom, it's just like a bowl. And now when we turn the finial for the bottom, okay, something like that, um, it's normal way I turn finials is I undercut this flange that sits up so that things tend to sit flush on the top. Um, but on the inside, it's concave, not convex. So we're going to use a ball connection instead of a flange like this. So it'll fit in the hole something like that instead. All right. So that's the thinking behind all of this. Any questions on that so far? All right. I'm assuming I'm still online.
You're good.
So, okay, I'm going to mount this piece. This, I believe, is box elder. It's kind of oblong, oval. So I'm going to orient it so that I've got a wider uh, orientation this way. So I'm just going to center it in my chuck like this. And I'm going to start like this. Now, the first thing I do is I want to make a tenon to hold it. So that's what I'm going to do, and it'll be on this part of the ornament. So this is the orientation, and I'm make a tenon to hold it this way so I can hollow the inside out. All right. Face shield, and you all know
So
this.
basically, just like you're turning a banana boat.
Yep. And I've never turned a banana bowl, so uh, or at least not that I've known to call it that. But this is my tenon size right here, the smaller ring. Make sure it spins. Deep fluted bowl gouge. And yes, I'm watching the shadow. I'm using shearing cuts to do this with. little smaller. All right. I'm going to remove some of the bulk here. Safety, turn your lathe off. When moving your tool rest, use tailstock support as long as possible.
How long was that piece of wood, Matt?
Uh, about 6 or 7 inches, I think. All right, now I'm going to take a skew and I'm going to clean up and square up my tenon. Make sure there's no debris on that inside corner. And make sure that I'm at 90 and 90 so the thing stays in the chuck well. Clean this up a little bit. And that's where we are so far. Okay. Well, look at that. It's going to be pretty. All right. So when I turn this, I'm gonna have it's going to be in here like this, and I'm going to come in further this way down here. So the tenon will probably all come off at the end. Okay. But that's just the plan. Okay. Let's put this out of the way. All right. Any other questions so far? All right. Again, use tailstock support as long as possible. Now, clearly I've got some, all right, so because you asked, it's about 7 inches long. And I don't know, 3 inches in diameter or so. So let me talk a little bit about what I'm going to try to do here. So um, I'm going to make my cuts this direction. Tool is going to come in like this. And I'm going to set the cut up as a shearing cut on the tool rest before I even touch the wood. Okay. And the reason why I'm doing that is I want to keep the bark on. In order to do that, got to come in it with a slicing cut on it. And so that's the plan. Except because of how the wood is, I may come this way instead first. That's probably what I'm going to do. And then I'll make the cuts. Okay. And I'm watching the profile up here, up top. Can't see that. See if I can zoom out a little bit. I'm watching my profile up top because I can't really tell where I'm cutting. And I'm making slicing cuts, very light slicing cuts. Now I'm going to make one of those slicing cuts in this direction. Okay, let's check it. Now, the reason why we're doing the outside first is because what we're doing is we're setting setting the outside contour. That's going to be pretty. We're setting the outside contour so that we're going to follow that with the inside contour. I hope that's clear. I don't know what to make of that bark. That's kind of funky. Now I'm going to clean it up. Again, I'm watching the profile. Okay. Okay. Questions about what I'm doing or why I'm doing it?
I don't see any.
I haven't
Okay.
seen it.
Nothing in comments. I can't see the chat, so if anybody's asking any questions in chat, somebody sing out for me.
We will.
Okay. I'm gonna start to work on the inside. And usually whenever you're doing something like this, a bowl of any kind, you want to make sure that you tighten your chuck before you take away your tailstock support. And that's what I'm doing. And you remove your whatever you had supporting things that's in the tailstock to avoid poking yourself in the elbow, a condition that we call Turner's elbow. Okay, I'm going to start cutting from the center towards the middle. And I'm going to do it again with light shearing cuts. Sorry. And I'm going to set the cut up on the tool rest before I touch the wood. So I'm going to set the cut up like this as a shearing cut, and I'm going to cut towards center. Drop this a little bit. And I'm going to make them light. And I want to set this cut up like this so that I don't abrade the bark. I want to try and keep as much of the bark on it as I can. All right. And that's why I'm doing the cuts this way. All right. Okay. Very light cuts. Much dust in the shop. Sorry, guys. No need to hurry. Let the tool edge do the work. Ride the bevel across the center. Now I'm also watching the outside contours. So I've got that shearing cut set up. All right, probably one or two more passes and I'm good. Okay, let's adjust the tool rest. Let me show you guys where I am.
And that.
I have no idea. It was over 2,000 RPMs. I'll turn it on again and tell you. I usually don't look, Al. I just turn, and if it's going too slow, then I'll turn it up. Okay, so we got some interesting things going here. The bark is coming off, so I want to keep the way that looks. So I'm going to augment that with some fire. You guys have seen me do. So let's get some of the sawdust out of the way. Make sure we know where the this is a craft torch. It's got butane in it. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to scorch up the ends where the bark has come off.
Can you go up a little higher on the camera?
Oh, I'm sorry. I
Oh.
can.
That's good, Matt.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. Sorry about that.
He beat me to it.
Hey, that's why we have this interaction, so you guys can tell me when I'm screwing up. You can see what I'm doing. So all I'm doing is I'm scorching the end of this, and I'm doing it now so that, as I turn and or sand, which I may or may not do, then I'll be cleaning up the edge as I go. Okay? So now it's all nice and colorful again all the way across. You can't tell where the bark came off. Make sure I don't have anything that'll get inflamed when I turn it back on. Okay. That's about where I was turning. Al, it says 2437. How's that? So I got some. This is a sort of a cleaning scrape. I've got the flute closed, and I'm at as steep an angle as I can manage with the tool rest. Just lost some more bark. May have to get the torch back out again. And now a cleaning, shearing cut across the face, in the middle. Okay, now what I'm going to do here next is I'm going to take my skew. I'm going to make a little indentation. And this indentation is for the drill bit because I'm going to drill now. Well, I may torch up the rim again because I've lost some more bark. Oh, I did. Okay. Lost all the bark. That sucks. You guys see that? So that scorches up nicely. So that's good. All right. Okay. I'm probably going to lose. This is going to come off too. Let's burn that up too. I lost all the bark on this piece. It's too bad because the other piece, the bark stayed on really well. All right. Okay. Tailstock, Jacob's chuck. I standardize all of the finials in my shop. I standardize them all with 1/4 inch tenons on them, and so whenever I need a finial for anything, I have a box full of them, and I just drill 1/4 inch holes, and this is what the 1/4 inch drill bit is for. Let's see, that's here. So I'm just putting a 1/4 inch drill bit in the Jacob's chuck and tailstock. and I'm going to drill, and I'm going to drill all the way through. Realistically, most of this is going to come off up here. So I don't really need to worry too much about how to go all the way through, but you get most of the way through at least. And I'm basically drilling on the lathe. It's pretty simple stuff. Make sure you clear out your chips regularly. That's probably good. All right. Questions, comments? You know how when you do a demo and you go and you get everything organized and you make sure you've got everything. Well, I had to dig through some some surplus stuff to find a 1/4 inch drill bit because my 1/4 inch drill bit has taken leave of where it should be. So it's gotta love having demoitis go on. Sand that out a little bit. Make sure my hole's nice and clean.
Matt, that's a great idea to standardize your tenons for your on your finials at a 1/4 inch. How do you size those tenons?
I have a handy dandy sizing tool that I got at my corner pawn store. It's a 1/4 inch wrench. Has not
Exactly
had
what I
any
thought.
Yep, has not had any modifications made to it, and that's how it works. And I keep it here magnetized to my shop the top of my lathe because I use it all the time. Okay. Let's see what's next. Okay. Next is we're going to switch back to this camera here. We're going to change centers. So I'm going to take the scroll chalk off and use cone centers because I now have a handy dandy little hole in the middle of things that I can use. I don't know. Can you guys hear that?
Mm-mm. I
Okay,
didn't
well,
hear
good. Well, I can. It's bugging me. Whoop, enough. Yeah. Sorry, I've got a Malamute who's barking in the background and wants attention. I'm going to make sure that hole's drilled all the way through, just for just to make sure that I could do it before I take it off of this So now, one of the things that you're always playing a game with here, whenever you're doing anything natural edge, is you've got to make sure that you keep your hands well away from the natural edge. So you don't hack up your hands or anything else. All right, that's all the way through. There, it goes there. That comes off. Okay, so I'm going to use a cone center in the tailstock, and I'm going to use cone center in the headstock also. There we go. So that's our shape so far. Y'all are being awful quiet out there in Zoom land.
Hey, Matt,
Okay. Yes, sir.
explain to folks what you just did removing your chuck. Some folks may not have seen that and have problems with the stuck chuck. If you could,
Okay.
please.
So, yep, I will. Thanks, Tim. So, what I did with the chuck is the jaws are open enough for my chuck key to fit between them. Okay. So, I used the chuck jaws to loosen it. So, I locked my tailstock with the spindle lock, and then I just yanked it a bit, and it broke it loose, and then I can unscrew it happily. Okay. Is that what you're looking for?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you. Okay.
And that's a 60-degree dead center, correct? You got in a headstock,
Yes.
Matt?
Yes, that's it. That's exactly what it is. Yeah, and they're not very expensive on Amazon either. So the problem is it won't grip. So you know you may have to I may have to tighten and tighten and tighten several times here. So that's what I'm doing. Let's zoom in a little bit so you all can see what I'm doing. Now I can see, I mean, I can try to clean this up, but I think that I'm just going to do it with sanding afterwards. But oh, good. So now what I want to do is I'm going to reduce this section of it down here. And I've got a hole all the way through it, and the cones are in that. So I've got to be careful when I get close to it. But that's what I'm going to do. All right. And I'm going to do it a little bit at a time. If I try to do too much at a time, if I try to mousse it, then it'll just spin. The drive center won't, it'll be loose on the drive center. And you can get pretty close to your cone center and let the tool edge do the work, which is good advice at any time, but even better when you get old like me, when you fatigue too easily. Let you turn longer if you let the tool edge do the work. And I'm not putting any pressure on this. I'm just letting the tool edge do the work. And these are all, I tend to practice my shearing cuts on every cut. It's moving on me. Hang on, guys. Tool rest was quite tight. It's tight now. All right. And again, keep in mind that this stuff is over here, is spinning will cut your finger off if you're not careful. So keep your fingers inside the tool rest and away from the spinning wood. So let's leave a little bit of a sort of a detail on the top here, kind of a rise, if you will. There. It's a little added feature. It does two things. It adds character to the piece, and it gives you a little bit of a buffer in the bottom in case your tenons are too long. This is again a shearing bevel riding cut. Now, This is getting close to getting through here. So I'm going to be very delicate with getting closer, and then I'm going to take the saw and finish it with the saw.
Just one more cut, right?
Yeah. Well, I could hear it too. It's one of those things I'm listening to it, and I can hear it, and it's probably pretty close to coming off. So I'm gonna exercise the better part of valor and skip demoitis and cut it off with the saw. Yeah, it was nearly all the way through.
If Dane was here, he'd have told you apart it.
Well, you would have, but there you go. So I was nearly there. Um, Junk. That's why the gods gave us Dremels, right? All right. Get out my fan favorite handy dandy 100 grit tool.
Matt, was that Dremel tool corded or battery operated?
Battery. This is the Dremel Micro. I use this almost all the time. I keep it in my shop on the charger. It's got the Sabertooth Whisper burr on it, but the yellow extra fine burr works just as well. Um, I take that with me. When I teach classes, weekend classes, I take it with me, and it lasts the whole class, 6 or 8 students without needing to be recharged. So it's a great little tool. I don't think they sell the micros anymore, but this one here, I just bought this past weekend. It's on sale at Lowe's for like $50, called the Dremel. Let me see, Dremel Lite, and it's battery, and it takes a USB charging in it, and it seems to work real good too. So I could.
Is that one lighted too, like the other one? No, it's not.
This one is not. No.
Bummer.
Yeah, I really like the light. Dremel doesn't sell that other one. I got that at a garage sale, I think, but it was it was recalled from because it has some overheating issues. But this one doesn't have that issue. So anyway, but so there's my there's the top of my ornament, okay, and I've got 1/4 inch hole all the way through it. So I can now turn a finial for it, and the finials will fit in like so, right? So let's make some finials. Questions, comments, observations?
Nothing yet so far.
Okay. Thank the gods for compressed air, right? Okay. So pull the sharp pointy thing out of the tailstock. And the sharp pointy thing out of the headstock. And back to the jaw chuck. Waiting for the day that they make one of those cone drive centers that'll fit in a chuck like this. Do they make those? Does anybody know? Because I love this. This is an amazing piece of kit here.
Talk to Best with Tools. If he doesn't make it, he will.
Oh, that's a great idea. Okay, so for finials, I'm going to use this piece of scrap cherry that I put a tenon on, which we all know how to do, right? Now, the way I make standard tenons is I start with an elongated cone. So I'm going to bring up tailstock support, and then I'm going to make an elongated cone that looks like this, roughly. Okay? My tenon will be down here. All right, so that's how I start. And the reason why I start with a cone is because it helps organize your thoughts. So this tenon here, this started with a similar cone, okay? And it's not quite conical. Maybe it's got a little bit of a scoop in it, okay? But it helps you organize your thoughts in your design on your tenon to get a pleasing shape. And that's how I start off all my finials like that. And then you can begin refining it as you work your way through it. And you always work from the farthest away from the headstock to the headstock to keep the meat to help drive it. You sand as you go, so you don't have to come back and put pressure on the thin parts and so on. Okay, questions on that? All right. Tailstock support as long as possible. Always safety first, right, Sue?
You got it, Matt.
Thank you. Thank you for your support. Okay. Deep fluted bowl gouge. I will also use, I may use the skew, but I will also use what I call a detail gouge, which is basically a spindle gouge with the grind steepened. Fluted bowl gouge. It's my spindle gouge, my detail gouge. Okay. Now remember what I said at the very beginning about instead of making a flange type bottom to the finial, we're going to make a sort of a ball finial. So keep that in mind when we get down there. So by necessity, that means that this is probably going to be a little thinner. So there's my general overall shape. I'm going to refine it a little bit more, and then I'm going to get to work on the details. Now, I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, all right, I probably want to make this part here more narrow. So we're going to start doing that too first, just to refine the shape a little bit. Okay. Let's go to the detail gouge. To get this up a little closer. Get some reading glasses on so I can actually see what I'm doing. All right. You guys see this? Let me see if I can get you in closer here. How's that? Now these are bevel riding shear cuts. All right. And very soon I'm going to be off of this. Okay. I'm letting the tool edge do the work. I'm not putting any pressure on this at all. All right. Now let's put a little bit of a bead in here because we can. I'm going to get the skew out, make some sharper corners in there. Like that. Okay, now, one of the things that I like, one of the little features that I like is I like to make this little bit that joins this kind of like a big sort of, I don't know, cone or a funnel or something, just to give a good transition. It's a little too big. We'll bring it down. Now I am riding the bevel on this. Now, I'm going to make a sort of I don't know what you call them, a pear or a elongated cone or elongated sort of bead here. So the bottom of that is going to be around here. So I'm just sort of setting that parameter now, and I'm going to work towards it. A little bit at a time, let the tool edge do the work. Now, with any luck, I'll get a good enough cut with this. I don't really have much sanding to do. So I'm pretty happy with that so far. Now, transitioning. All right, let's do a little sanding. See if I can find some sandpaper here. Now, one of the standard practices here when you're doing things is to use your finger to support any sort of pressure that you're putting. Now, I'm probably putting any pressure on here at all with this, but it can't hurt. Last thing you want is to spend, 15, 20 minutes making a finial like this and then break it off because you were a little too aggressive on the sanding or whatever. Funny. I know how much you guys love watching sanding. I know I do. Is everybody asleep?
No, not yet.
All right, good. All right. Next bit. I'm going to take this down a little bit here because in the way. Turn it up a little bit more. Okay, so the next feature is going to be about like there. Detail gouge out. You know what? Let's get the skew out. This needs to come down a little bit. It's a little abrupt. Like surface. This is too big. Let's take that down.
Matt, your face shield is obstructing
Oh,
our
I'm
view
sorry.
there.
I'm sorry. Thank
No
you.
problem. You're welcome.
I'm like, I'm doing detail stuff and I'm trying to see what I'm doing. I appreciate that. Thank you. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing now. Just refining the shape here a little bit. Don't let it go too thin. All right. All right. So I think that probably the bottom of my finial is going to be here-ish. So you got one more sort of bead in it, and then we'll call it a finial. The skew. Really about like that. All right. I don't know if anybody will get in here to look, but let's put a burn line in here because we can. Now, at this point, this is the part where I'm going to make a ball connection to the tenon on the bottom and to the bottom of the piece. Because remember that the bottom of the piece is concave, not convex, like the top of a lid or the top of a box is. So this ball here is going to be the bit that fits snugly against the bottom of my piece. So at this point, this section here is going to be my little tenon, my 1/4-inch tenon. And because we're here, and we should, let's sand. Okay, all good. Okay. Um, let's see. Let's go with this tool here, which is a parting tool. I'm going to make that little tenon here. It's 1/4-inch. All right. Let's get out our handy dandy little measuring gauge here and see how close we are. We're not very close. We got a ways to go yet. So I tend to make this bit down here the smallest part and then move it towards the rest of the finial, just because it gives you some flexibility. So I'll usually taper it this way. Check it. We're almost there. All right. All right. Okay. Some vinyl sanding here. Set it away.
Oh, shit.
And we'll take thin kerf parting tool and just part it right off. Okay, so there's our finial. And it goes in the bottom of our piece like so. All right. So now let's turn the top finial out of what's left. Hopefully I've got enough room. This tool. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my skew and I'm going to make a little tiny indentation there. And then I'm going to get out that little pin drill. Looks like this. Put the little drill bit in it. And I'm going to drill this out on the lathe, just hand holding it. And you push it in a little bit and make sure you got to clear your chips out regularly. And you got to be really delicate with this. Otherwise, you'll break the drill bit off. It's designed to be worked, by hand, to be twisted by hand. So that's good. Okay. Not a lot of room to work with here. So it's pretty simple, I guess. Let's see, what do I got here? Let's use this one. Refine it a little bit.
Matt, switching,
Yes, sir.
switch.
You want me to switch to this camera?
Yeah, that's better, Matt.
Okay. Now, I really don't have enough room here at all for much of anything. So we got to be really careful. But let's sand before it gets too crazy. All right. You better check it. Do with my little tool here. There it is. All right. A little bit more. That should be enough. Yep, and it is. All right. Thin parting tool. And off it comes. I got to go find it in the shavings. Ah. It went there. There it is. Okay. Oh, you guys didn't get to see. Oh, yes, you did. Okay. So there's my little finial. All right. And it goes in the top like so. All right. And there's my other finial. It goes in the bottom like so. And there's my ornament. So let me back this off a little bit. Let's see, that's this key. So that's where I am right now. All right. Questions, comments, suggestions?
Very nice, Matt. Good job.
Looks
Thank
like
you.
a parachute.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
So I've
Yep.
never done one quite this wide before. But anyway, these little eye hooks just sort of screw in that little hole that you drilled.
Matt, I'm going
Yes,
to
sir.
tell you, I didn't see where you saw that little piece of wood for that little 1/4 inch. I didn't see where you saw it, but that was just great.
Thank you.
Very, very, very
Appreciate it,
enjoyable.
Al.
Very
There's,
enjoyable.
there's, there's
I
my
didn't
ornament.
see I didn't see that wood that you had. There you go. Look at that.
Fantastic. Looks great, Matt.
My
Nice
God,
job,
look at
Matt.
that. Beautiful.
So and clearly you could do things like
Very
color
nice.
or dye the finials. There's a lot of choices. There's some post sanding that I need to do on this piece, but that's the piece. I got to tell you that let me show you a little bit here that I was a good 1/4 inch deep into this. So I was really worried about going through the bottom of my tenon. So that's all that's left. So it's
That was the enjoyable part.
you don't do that. It's not safe.
Hey, Matt,
Yes.
usually we have a guy on here every week that when they show a new tool or something like that, he usually types it in and posts pictures where you can buy it on Amazon and everything else. But he wasn't on here tonight because you're busy. But that little drill tool, that little handle that you use, when you do get some time later, could you throw that in chat for us?
I will. I'm pretty sure I got it on Amazon, and I'm pretty sure it's called a pin drill, but I've been using this for 10 years, so I don't really remember what it's called. But it comes with these little drill bits. So
Yeah.
We did post a link last week.
Yeah.
It's a
yeah.
pin chuck. It's a pin vise. Yeah,
that's
pin
okay.
vise.
I'll
jeweler
find it.
drill.
I'll find it, and I'll find. Yeah,
Pin
and
vise.
it's usually. I mean, it's designed. Let me switch over to this camera. It's designed to be used. It's a twist. It's designed to be used by hand. You know what I mean? But if you're really careful and you go straight in on the lathe, you can get away with it. But I've broken those drill bits. That's how I know that you got to be really careful. I've learned the hard way. So don't do what I did. Listen to what I say.
Hey, Matt, this might help. I've broken a lot of drill bits too. In fine woodworking, in fine carpentry, when you're doing baseboards or oak trim or something, if you want to drill a hole for a nail, you use the nail for the drill. That doesn't take any wood out, and it makes the hole to fit the nail.
Well, that makes a lot of sense.
With a pin vise, you can use a piece of piano wire, and it drills that, it opens that hole rather than removing wood. It's much
Okay.
stronger.
Now's the time for a great deal on a new.
Cool. Very
Yeah.
cool. Well, I appreciate all the suggestions, and I will look
Sure.
up that link and put it in chat when I find it. Thanks,
I
Jim.
posted one, Matt.
Okay. Very cool. Thank you, Billy.
I'll tell you
Anything
what,
else?
No suggestions. It was just enjoyable. Thank you.
Oh, good. You're welcome, Dale.
It was. It was a
I
good
strive to entertain. As long as you didn't fall asleep, I've done my job.
You had us all the way to the end.
Well, and nothing came off. I didn't break anything, so it's all good. So I didn't throw a tool or throw a piece or anything. So the worst I had to do was crawl around in the shavings looking for my finial. So,
And he didn't even throw a fit.
And he got it by himself. That's wonderful. And for many of us, that's no longer an issue. We can't do it.
well, it was a struggle, Sue. So I've got to thank the modern miracles of chemistry and drugs. So
Yes,
You know.
exactly.